All right, let's get back to the ballot now. Largest jumps in the voting that was revealed yesterday. Carlos Beltrán was number one, jumping from 46 to 57. Gary Sheffield, that was kind of a year 10 bump, but he got up to 64%. Todd Helton, enough to get in. He was on the precipice already at 72%. Billy Wagner falls just short, so he gets a bit of a bump, not huge. And Andrew Jones, I'm saying Andrew Jones took a hit. I feel like I expected more of a jump, I guess, for Andrew Jones as he moves up through the years. But mainly, as we're back now, Jason Stark, Joel Sherman, J.P. Morosi. Joel, I'll start with you. I thought Carlos Beltrán, again, with the sign-stealing scandal, he took a real hit. I thought it would be, all right, everyone kind of figured year one punishment, year two, I thought it was going to surge to somewhere near 75%. That didn't happen. Why do you think?
I'm not really clear, BK. I wrote a few days ago about my evolution as a writer, kind of like who I grew up with at UPI in the mid-'80s, kind of like play defense against letting in the ordinary or the very good or even the great. You're talking about the immortal. I think even in the oldest way of thinking, I would have voted for Beltrán. It was more than that. I think Beltrán is an easy Hall of Famer. Before year 20 of his career, which is the year of the sign-stealing scandal, a year, by the way, where he was a below-average player. It isn't like, oh, you know who got a lot out of that sign-stealing to improve their career? Carlos Beltrán. His career, his Hall of Fame case is in those first 19 years, where he's a five-tool player, where I think he's the second-best center fielder of that 25, 30-year period to Ken Griffey Jr. You know, better than really great center fielders. Yep. Andrew Jones, Kenny Lofton, Bernie Williams, Jim Edmonds. I think he's better than them. He's an historic stolen base guy, the best stolen base percentage for anyone with 200 steals. He's got well over 1,000 OPS in a lot of postseason games. He was a difference for teams in the postseason. I'm not exactly sure why he isn't waltzing in, but he's not waltzing in.
Well, again, there's the sign-stealing scandal, because I'll say this again, to take yourself back to the place and time. At the time, like before the Astros thing hit, his brand was sky high, JP. He was just talking like the way Yadier Molina finished his last season. It was Hall of Famer Carlos Beltrán. I just saw all this writing. I'm like, and I felt good about it because it was there's a guy playing a defensive position, so that maybe doesn't have Mickey Mantle's numbers, right? But the writers, I thought, and the broadcasters saw, like, no, this is a superior center fielder. He will go into the Hall of Fame. So I didn't think this Astros punishment would be as long as this.
I agree. The only reason, I believe the only reason he is not in the Hall of Fame now is because of the Astros sign-stealing scandal. That's the only credible reason I can come up with. You just saw that graphic a moment ago. He averaged, effectively, a 30-30 season for 8 straight years. 400-plus home runs, 300-plus stolen bases as a switch-hitting center fielder.
Yeah, but John, you're pointing out, like, no 3,000 hits, no 500 home runs, and somehow there are some out there voting that seem to want that.
BK,
or nothing.
For me, clearly, based on the uniqueness of a switch hitter, again, compare his attributes.
I'm agreeing with you. Yes.
100%.
Yes.
100%. You compare his attributes to Chipper Jones, basically.
Yeah.
Very, very similar as switch hitters at different positions, of course. But I'm here to tell you, BK, that there are certain voters who are holdouts about aspects of players' backgrounds. And I don't believe it's fair. He lost a managerial job as a result of what happened in Houston.
He's the only player named in the Manfred report.
He
suffered for this.
He has suffered greatly for that.
And can I throw one counter also in? Like, if you're going to, this is a guy, he won the Clemente Award, right? He opened up an academy in Puerto Rico, which is delivering. There had been a big gap where Puerto Rican baseball players weren't coming through as much. He's getting guys drafted out of his academy. He is a motivating factor for getting translators into the clubhouse for people who did not speak English as a first language. I mean, there are a lot of people who did delinquent stuff in the game that have nothing on the other side of the ledger.
Right.
Carlos Beltrán has a lot of stuff on the positive side of the ledger.
Right, Paul.
Can I disagree with the whole premise of this segment? Is that okay? I think Carlos Beltrán did make a surge. This is not last year when 6 different players jumped by 10% or more. On this ballot, much more crowded, he was the only one.
But he could have been, he should have been, or could have been 75% from the get-go. So for him at 46 to 57, it's still well under where he should have been.
He could have been, but he started at a much higher percentage than any PED player in their first year.
Well, isn't it a vastly different scandal? I mean, that's how
it's a vastly different scandal.
I'm able to discern between the two.
Okay, but what was our big conversation last year? Are voters going to punish all cheaters the same? We found out last year, no.
Right.
They're not going to punish him as much.
Nor should they.
And then this
Right?
year, he jumped by 10% to almost 60. He's getting elected. I'm going to predict he gets elected in 2 years.
Okay. And yet, he's taking more of a hit than we thought. It was not that year two surge.
I'm not quite as bullish. I do believe eventually he'll get here, but I'm not convinced.
Might be a slower climb.
I think voters were waiting to see how others handled him. And now they're going to fall in line. I could be totally wrong. It's happened before.
That's kind of an overall theme for a lot of things, including baseball voting.
Yeah, it is.
Which way is the wind blowing? I'll go that way.